How has the series not started sucking yet? Someone must have wished it not to. Death Wish 5, The Face of Death. The fifth and final Charles Bronson installment in the Death Wish franchise. The original franchise, not the remake or Death Sentence, but you know what, let's continue. The plot. Paul Kersey is still living in New York, has a loving girlfriend and is ready to settle down in life with her and her daughter. However, his woman has a shady ex-husband who wants to mess with shit while using her fashion studio as a front. Attack after violent attack. How well do you think it'll end for the baddies? Honestly, I had no expectations for this movie. Did I hope it'd be good? Yes, but I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. Surely the main story of a man going on a vigilante vengeance is nothing new to this franchise. However, I do appreciate the new sub-stories that are brought to the table with each movie. Like how the first two movies focused on acts of street violence and what one person could change. The third movie focused on robbery and how civilized people could react. The fourth movie focused on drugs and how it affected children's lives. Death Wish 5 focuses on money laundering and how it can affect the people who are covering for them. This is Death Wish 1990s edition. And in that, there's a different style to the film that is very 90s. Not that that's a bad thing. In fact, it gives the film its own unique appearance. I was actually convinced that this movie could end differently than the previous installments. And it did. Kind of. I don't want to get into spoilers. With its $5 million budget, which is the same as Death Wish 4, it only made around $1.7 million on a limited release. Which isn't terrible, actually, considering this was the mid-90s, and with such a small release it could have done so much worse. It shows that people still had an interest in the series. What sucks is that we'll never get a Death Wish 6 with Bronson. I am still looking forward to Death Kiss, though. There have been attempts with films such as Death Sentence and Death Wish 2018, and both are awesome. Sometimes, though, all you need is some of Bronson's cheesy one-liners and timid interest to sell the movie. Back to Death Wish 5, The Face of Death. It's an entertaining flick. There's some great kills and tons of cheesiness to satisfy any thrill junkie. The gore, the effects. We get a guy who is blown up, not only because he was a bad dude, but because he had a bad dandruff problem that's needed eradicating. From there, we get a man sent headfirst into a meat grinder, and a dude is literally given an acid bath, complete with his own gruesome flesh melting. This is definitely the goriest Death Wish movie that starred Charles Bronson. The effects are not half bad either. One thing that kind of was bothersome was that no one could seem to hit Bronson, not even at point blank with an Uzi mini-machine gun. It all adds to the cheesiness, like, why can't we hit this fucker? I'm pointing right at him. The motion picture soundtrack, Terry Plummery, rest in peace, did the music for this movie, and it wasn't terrible. He also did music for Scarecrow's 1988, The Terror Within, and Watchers Reborn, and many more. I'd say this is my least favorite, but it's far from bad. It's got some entertaining action, some good gore, decent music, and Charles Bronson taking care of business. For a series that has made 5 movies and has spanned as long as it has, I am still pleasantly surprised that none of them made me wish for death. Overall, I give Death Wish 5, The Face of Death, a 3 out of 5. This part is actually noteworthy. There's a significant lack of people who died in real life recently that starred in a Death Wish movie. Besides Michael Parks. I hope I didn't just jinx it. Lion Brian Gatto, host of Horror Show Entertainment. Make sure to like my Facebook page in the description below and leave comments and subscribe. I'm finally done with the series. On to Death Sentence.